Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope there are many of you today. Thank you very much for finding some of your precious time and joining us today at the webinar, which will be dedicated to workforce and personal monitoring. I'm glad to announce that this webinar will be held together with our technology partner, Teltonika.
Hello.
And my colleague Osmandas is here to help and to tell more about GH5200 device, which will obviously be the topic of this webinar. But before we start, let me just briefly introduce myself. My name is Tim Scherbakov. I'm a Wialon implementation consultant at Gurtam. And for those of you who don't know anything about Gurtam, I would like to say that it's one of the leading telematics solution providers in the world. And Wialon is our solution for GPS monitoring of employees, assets, and fleets. And now I'm passing the word to my colleague Osmandas, who will introduce himself and who will tell more about the webinar agenda.
Hello guys. First of all, thank you, Tim, for having me today here in this webinar. Thank you all for all of you who joined this webinar. And I am head of personal tracking products at Teltonika. So with the company, I'm already 8 years here in Vilnius. And yes, and today we will be talking about personal tracking device, GH5200. Today, this device will be the star of today. So shortly about agenda, we will remember history of Teltonika and Gurtam. We had long-lasting partnership with Gurtam and Wialon system. Next thing, what we will talk about GH. What is the device? What is its capabilities, and how this device could bring benefit to you? Tim will also show us how to configure device and how to use in Wialon systems. We will go through scenarios analysis, and after that we will have live questions and answers session. So we expect this webinar won't take more than 60 minutes. Tim, I think for you.
Yes, thank you, Osmandas. As I have mentioned, Gurtam is one of the leading telematics solution providers today. We have been on this market for 17 years, and we now have more than 1,600 partners all over the world. And more than 2.4 million devices connected. Wialon is just one of the solutions that we offer. And I'm really glad that Teltonika is the biggest technology partner of ours with 68 device models integrated into the platform. And more than 284,000 Teltonika devices connected to Wialon today. And among these devices, there are vehicles, assets, gensets, boats, and even dogs. But today, our webinar will be dedicated to workforce monitoring. It can be factory employees, it can be lone workers, field agents, patients, and any other person. So my colleague Osmandas will now be showing distinctive features of GH5200 device. And later on, we will know how to use it with Wialon. And as my colleague Osmandas mentioned, we are going to have a Q&A session. So please do not hesitate to post your questions in the chat. But while doing so, may I ask you to leave full name and your email so that you could receive the answer later on, if just in case, you know.
So thank you, Tim. So today, personal tracking is more important as never before. We tracked a lot of vehicles, we tracked a lot of assets, but personal tracking now with the pandemic is becoming really important. So this is why many companies turn to this solution. Talking about GH5200, it's our 7th generation personal tracking device. We started our first personal tracking device back in 2007 year. So it was first our device was GH5200. It had very simple function, just to alarm. If something happens, you press alarm button, you get GPS coordinate back to your server. In 13 years, we developed seven new generations of devices, and GH5200 is the latest one. What is special about GH5200? So first of all, it is autonomous device. You don't need any additional hardware. You don't need mobile phone. You don't need any sensors or something. It works autonomously. You put a SIM card, you wear it, and that's all. Second good thing about this, that still alarm is a crucial function of device. Now device has more than one alarm. So first thing, you push alarm button, you receive data to the server that something happened. But we have now automatic alarms. That means that you can have a man down or no movement alarm in case you fall down and not moving. Device also has two-way voice. That means that if alarm is raised, you can call to the device and check how serious alarm. Maybe it's a fake alarm, so you can understand what is happening. Third is very important. It is design. Design is a device designed to be very light for the user. So it will be light to wear on your neck. It is slim, so it is easy to wear. It weighs only 80 grams, and still it has 1050 milliamps battery. So you can have battery from 8 hours to few days of battery lifetime. What is also important, that device is fully configurable. We have many customers, many requirements, many use cases, and each customer finds a way how to configure device. So you can configure every 5 buttons in the way you want. You can configure indications in the way you want. So we give this flexibility to our customers. This is what it makes this device special. What is also important, that device is based on FMB series of device. So this series of FMB platform is already millions of devices are manufactured. That means that you have quality assurance, same components used per million of devices. Also, this device can be quickly manufactured, as we hold the stock of our most popular components. And not the last thing is that device has a Bluetooth. Bluetooth opens new horizons for our new cases. In 2019, device was used mainly in lone worker protection in Europe. So it was very easy, like for the people who work alone, they got this device. So something happens, you push alarm button, you get help. But 2020 year brought us new reality, new problems. So, and this is the things I would like to speak on the next slide. So GH52 has new functions for the 2020 year. First of all, as pandemic came, people are more afraid of meeting each other, spreading the disease. So first of our solutions, what we made is like to assure or count the meetings with other person. We call it proximity alert. So an example, you come closer each to other, so device would indicate first of all, it would indicate the user that you are too close to the person. Second thing, what it would do, it would record the event that you met with this person. And in example, you have a huge factory, huge departments, and so many people meet each other. And somebody, in case somebody gets sick, you would know who met who, and you could quarantine not all factory, but only part of the factories. This is one of the examples. Second thing we placed on the Bluetooth was home zone, assuring person is staying at home. What was happening in Lithuania and other countries, that people who coming from highly affected countries had to quarantine for 14 days. Most of us did quarantine, and 99% of people did, but there is only 1% of people who won't follow quarantine, and then you are in trouble. Disease spreading very quickly. This is why governments lean to the technology partners, how to ensure that person stays at home. So we designed the GH5200 new functionality to assure that person is staying at home, wearing a non-removable wristband. And through the Bluetooth, GH could recognize when you are at home, it would start to indicate, and police could be informed, and you could have a problem. Also, if you take device together, so device would record GPS position. So also all violations would be recorded. So, and third and latest growing field, which I would like to speak, is a new thing, is a telecare. Now, doctors and patients would like to meet in the hospital, but it's also very bad for the spreading of disease. So new things are coming for the future. I would like to mention this, that new sensors for GH is going to be implemented in next few months, but we will share about on the next webinars. Next slide, Tim.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for this interesting piece of information. And now we are going to see the video of how social distancing feature actually works. I will stop sharing my screen just for a second, and then we will be able to see the video. And I would like to apologize if there will be any freezes because it's a YouTube video, but we will post the link in the chat, so you will be able to view it later on as well.
Yes, this video is very popular, so probably most of you who follows Teltonika knows it. So.
Okay, great. Was it good? No freezes?
It was freezing a bit, but it's okay. So it's I think it was quite good quality.
Okay, just great. Now we will continue with our presentation, and I will show you how these features work with Wialon. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
great. So just 1 second, I'll extend it a little bit. So we have two GH5200 devices connected to Wialon platform. And for those of you who haven't seen Wialon before, let me just briefly explain a little bit. If we would like to see some additional information from devices, like for example, battery level or panic button press or social distancing violation, we need to create the so-called sensors in Wialon. And by creating sensors in Wialon, we are telling the system that a certain data should be binded with some real essence. So let me give you just a bit more details. All of the data that tracking devices are sending to Wialon can be seen on the panel which is called messages. So if you would like to check this data, you can select your device from the list. You can select the time, and then when you press execute, you will be able to see these data messages that are in semi-raw data format. So we can see timestamp, we can see speed, GPS coordinates, and most importantly, we can see parameters, which is actually some additional data from a tracking device. So if we would like to know, if we would like to create sensors, we need to know the description of parameters. For example, IO113. So how do we know this? Actually, what I like about Teltonika is that there's a full description of parameters on their website. So if we go to their website and find the device model, there's a section which is called downloads, and we can and we need to select this section and open the document which is called AVL ID list. And when we open this document, we can easily find the description of the parameter. Now, there's a column which is called property ID. So this is the column which we need. And we can see that 113 is responsible for battery level. So that's how we can create a sensor and know what is the value of the battery. So if we get back to Wialon, in order to create a sensor, we need to open unit properties, open sensors tab, and I have already created a few sensors for you here, but just let me explain a little bit. So I have created a battery level sensor. So I have specified the name. I have selected custom sensor as type and added IO_113 as parameter, because IO_113 is responsible for the battery level as shown in the document description. And once we have the sensor, we can also open advanced tab and select battery level to be displayed as an icon on the monitoring panel right over here. So as soon as we have this, we can see the battery level on the monitoring panel as an icon. So right now the battery level is around 71%, and we can also see this in form of numbers. And in the same manner, we need to create sensor for any other parameter that we are interested in. For example, if we need to know when the panic button was pressed on the device, and this may happen if you have a lone worker somewhere in the field and something happened to him, a kind of an accident, so he can press this panic button, and then the device will send an alarm event to the platform. So I have also created a panic button sensor. I have given the name. I have selected alarm trigger as sensor type, and I have also added the parameter. And again, this parameter IO_236, I was able to find in the document on Teltonika website. So it says that there was an alarm. And as soon as we receive alarm in Wialon, we can, and create a sensor, we can use this information further, and we can configure a report or to see some historical data, to see, for example, when the panic button was pressed. And also we can use this sensor in notifications, and we can create a real-time notification to be sent to the manager, for example, of that person who got into trouble. So for panic button notification, we simply select alarm notification type, and on the next step we can select what kind of action shall happen when this alarm event will be received in Wialon. We can send an email to the manager of that person, for example. We can send notifications to Telegram Messenger. We can also display an online notification in a pop-up window. Osmandas, if you have the device, it's the right time to press the button so that we could see how this alarm works.
1 second.
Yes, and also there are some other notification actions that are available. You can see that I have enabled register event for units. It's always a good idea to enable this option. And if we enable this option, then we will be able to see information in reports that the notification has triggered. One more thing, we also have a mobile application which is very similar to the web interface and has similar functionality. You can install it to Android and iOS smartphone, and you will be able to receive notifications straight to your smartphone, and you will also be able to check the location of the worker who is in trouble. Now we have some alarms, some notifications triggered. We can see that there's a panic button press and proximity violation, which I will be showing you in just a few seconds. So that's because we have selected a pop-up window, which may be useful if you have some kind of a control center or something of the kind. And except for real-time alerts, just as I mentioned, we can run reports to see history data. So right over here, we have a report that shows when panic button was pressed. And this is actually the text that the manager can receive, and it's also adjustable. You can also include the link to Google Maps to show the location of the alarm. So reports are good for history data. And another nice feature that Osmandas mentioned, which I personally believe is really nice, because I don't know any other devices that offer the same functionality, is the social distancing. Social distancing to make sure that employees that stay within the same factory or some kind of a building do not come too close to each other. And of course, there's like a built-in buzzer, which is able to tell the employees that they are coming too close. But as soon as it happens, we also have a feature in Wialon that allows you to see when it has happened, and it's called, this report is called proximity violation. Just as I mentioned, in order to see this, we need to configure sensors in Wialon. So just a small example, I have configured proximity violation sensor, and I have selected IO875 as a parameter because the document, again, on the Teltonika website says that this is the right parameter if we would like to control violations. But as you may have noticed, I've selected passenger sensor as the type for this sensor. There is an explanation for that as well. The description says that in this parameter we will see MAC address of the device that violates personal space. But actually MAC address will not be really useful for most of people, because they would most probably want to see the name of the person and not the MAC address. And this is why I have created a passenger sensor. And once you have created a passenger sensor, you can bind the code, this MAC address, and the name of the employee. So if you have employees that wear the same device, you can enter employee name here, name employee 1, for example, and you can enter MAC address code here. And then if you do so, we are able to run a report. I'm running passenger report, but luckily Wialon allows you to rename the columns. And we can actually see that, for example, employee 2 was close to some other employee. And we can see violation time as well as location of violation. So using this passenger report, we can see the fact of violation that 2 employees were too close to each other. I mean, they approached each other, violated social distance. And we can also see the amount, and if they keep doing this, their manager can tell them to stop. So that was the report. And of course, it is also possible to configure a real-time violation for that as well. Here we are just using availability of this parameter. So if this parameter is sent by the device, we can show a violation. So that was the second important feature that I wanted to show to you. And like Osmandas mentioned, there's also Bluetooth home zone violation feature. This is really This is something that can be widely used for patients monitoring, for factory monitoring. For example, if you have a really big factory and you have several departments within the same building, you can place Bluetooth tags inside those buildings, and you can make sure that employees do not waste their time, working time, and wander around other departments. So you can make sure that they just stay within the one department. And Bluetooth home zone violation is just the feature that will help you to do it. So basically, when the connection between the tag and the device is lost, the device will send an alarm message. Again, we can configure a sensor, and we can see in report some violations, and we can also see real-time notifications. So here, actually, we need to use IO874 parameter for configuring a sensor. Again, that's because we have this in the document, which is really convenient. And we need values that are larger than 4, because 4 means the signal is lost, and it means that there has been a violation. So this is why, while configuring a sensor, we need to cut off all invalid values that are lower than 4. And in this case, we will receive a violation. And also, it is possible to configure a sensor for when the device is very close to violation. So value number 2 means that the device is very close to losing the signal. It means that it's too far away. It's going away from the tag. So we can also configure a separate sensor to show when the device is about to make the violation, which can be useful for a control center. For example, if you are monitoring this in real time, control center can receive such a violation, and he can call the worker. And like I mentioned, you can run reports to see some historical events, and you can see real-time alerts, Bluetooth home zone violation. So for that kind of violation, you need to use sensor value. So these were like the main features, but not the only one. Of course, we have something more traditional in Wialon. We can set up geofences on the map. Like here we can see a geofence, and if you have some field workers who are not supposed to leave this area during their working hours, you can set up a geofence for them. You can also set up a notification and select this geofence. In this case, we would need geofence out because we are interested to know if workers leave this area. So we can select our area of operation. We can select what kind of action shall happen when this violation happens. And we can also adjust the text that the manager will receive. And furthermore, we can also set up some limits. For example, we can set up only working shift. In this case, if your field workers leave the area within this time frame that we have specified here, in this case, the notification will trigger. But if they leave this area outside this time, the notification will not trigger, because it's quite okay that at the end of the working day, they go home. And we can additionally set up some time limitations like weekdays without days off. So that's how you can do this. And yeah, there are some other notifications. You can also configure a notification for low battery to make sure that the device is charged on time. So when you are close to the threshold, you can always receive an alert. And of course, you can receive a connection loss as well. For example, to make sure that everything is all right. Sometimes SIM cards, there's low balance and data sending stops. So you can also configure such an alert to be able to see this. So that's practically it. Now we will continue with our presentation. Just 1 second. So just a few words why GH5200 and Wialon are a good solution. Because Wialon allows you to see real-time alerts, which is especially useful if you have a control center. And it also allows you to see historical data to run reports. And there's no need to analyze it in real time if you don't need. You can simply run a report and you can get information about violations anyway. And it can be panic button press, it can be social distancing violation, it can be home zone leaving. So this is why it's a really nice solution. Osmandas, do you have anything to add?
Of course, Tim. Thank you. It was very detailed presentation, and wow, it's so easy to work with Wialon using GH5200. So if you have persons who are now wondering which platform to use, so it's quite obvious that Wialon is a good platform, and you can have much more value from the device working together with Wialon. So now I guess we need to go to the questions and answers section.
Yes, right. Before we go to that, just a few contact details.
Yes.
If you have, if you're interested in this device, please contact your sales manager at Teltonika. Or if you have never heard about Teltonika before, which I highly doubt, but still, you can send an email to info@teltonika.lt. And if you're interested in Wialon, please contact our business development department at sales@gurtam.com. If you are our existing partner, you can always receive technical support from our support team, support@gurtam.com. And if you have questions regarding hardware connection, please feel free to send an email to our hardware department, which is hw@gurtam.com. And now we are going to have a Q&A session. So let us check the chat.
Well, I would like to thank my team, which were behind me. So Drasius, Rokas, and Martinez for answering questions. So let's check if we have more questions not answered.
Yes, just 1 second. Let me just quickly browse through the chat to see if there are any questions related to Wialon, okay? So Osmandas, are you saying that your colleagues have already replied in the chat, right?
I see that all the questions regarding GH5200 was answered, or we gave a contact to contact us. Regarding Wialon, I guess you were really direct to the questions, so it was so obvious, so it was shame to ask, probably. So great job.
Okay, great. Let's also check questions from YouTube chat. Just
okay.
1 second. Now I will stop sharing just for a few moments. Well, thank you for greetings. It's really a pleasure. But I don't think that we have questions in YouTube, except for the question from Mr. Walid. Mr. Walid, it's nice to see you here. Yes, GH5200 is integrated with Wialon. And as you can see, you are able to run some reports and real-time notifications. I think that's it. If we don't have any other questions, then it's time to end our presentation. But before we do that, let me thank you for being here. For us, it's a pleasure, and we really hope it was useful for you. We really hope that you can find some new niches to work in, and hopefully personal monitoring will be one of them. And just before we end, let me make a small announcement. We have an event this Thursday where we will be giving awards to top 10 GPS hardware manufacturers. So I would really appreciate if you could view this. For us, it will be a pleasure to praise the best of the best. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention once again.
All right. Are you broadcasting this?
Pardon?
Are you broadcasting? I won't be able to go to Minsk. So,
yeah, we are broadcasting. This will be like a live event, and we will send a link in the chat, right?
All right.
We'll do it.
All right, great. Thank you guys for your time. It was a pleasure to present you GH52 device, and hopefully you find Wialon and GH52 as useful solution for the personal tracking use cases. Thank you and have a good day.